Hello, and thank you for joining me for my Excel and Power BI Suite skill demonstration. The purpose of this video is to give you a general impression of my skill level with both Excel and Power BI by letting you watch me solve some problems here in real time. Now, I'm going to start actually by showing you the results, because it may be that you're maybe not as interested in watching me solve each problem all the way. You just sort of want to know what I can produce. Or maybe you are going to watch the entire video, and being able to see where we're going will help you understand where we are at each individual step. So we're going to solve four problems, the first of which is we're going to take a table or a column that has a bunch of names in it. Some of these names have no middle names, some of them have one middle name, other ones have, let's see if I can't find one. Like down here there's multiple middle names, and we want to, well, we can already extract the first name, that's pretty easy to do, but what we want to do is extract the last name, and that's a little bit trickier. So we're going to use this formula right here, which uses some arbitrarily sized arrays to locate the last space in a text string and extract everything beyond that. Okay, so when we're done with that, we're going to take this data right here, which is report data, which is to say that it's got some transactional information in it, but it's broken down by order number, and we're going to use some find specials to transform it into tabular data very, very quickly. When we're done with that, we are going to use a Power Pivot model, and we're going to build a query off of that to extract the top 3 selling products per month. We're going to use a DAX query for that. The DAX query is going to look like that. Okay, when we're done with that, we're going to come over here. We have a workbook which has weekly call center stats. Unfortunately, each representative has their own sheet in this workbook. So this report gets emailed to us automatically every week. Unfortunately, this information is not all that useful. For it to be useful, we have to combine all of these sheets into a single large table and make sure that when we do so, we add a column which says which representative it is. And so we're going to use Power Query to handle that. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Nope, don't need to save that. All right, start by extracting the first name. So we're going to do row indirect. So we're going to take that text string right there and join it with the length of B3. And what that's going to give us is an array starting at 1 and going all the way to the total number of characters in that text string over there. I hit F9, Control Z, there we go. Okay, I'm going to hit F2. So now that we've got that, what we want to do is we want to throw that into a mid function. We're going to take the mid of B3, and rather than starting and grabbing a single character, we're going to grab all of the characters from that text string and extract each one into its own element in an array. 1. Okay, I hit F9. So now I've got all the characters extracted into an array, and now I'm going to do a search to find the spaces. Control Z. Okay, so if any one of those is equal to space, is equal to space, then I want you to return that position. So to get that, we're going to do another one of these row indirect guys. Okay, and if it's not, we want you to return null string. Close out the if, I hit F9. Great, so now I've got nothing but positions of the spaces. Control Z. And if I wrap that whole thing in a max, what I end up with is the position of the last space in that text string. Control Z. Okay, now that I've got that, what I want to do is I'm going to do another mid, and I'm going to start by grabbing text from B3. And the place I want to start is not this right here, but 1 plus this, because this is the position of the last space. I want the text just after that last space. So I'm going to hit end, comma, and how many characters would I like to pull? Well, I'm just going to play it safe and do the len of B3, because in Excel, that's not going to generate an error. And I should be able to hit Control-Shift-Enter and double-click to send that guy down, and I am all done. Okay, heading to the next one. So let's start off. We're going to do Control space, Alt-H-FDSK, select those blanks, Alt-HDR to delete the blank rows between data. So now that I've got that, I'm going to construct my hooks and my fill sources in the same formula. So I'm going to do an if. I want to know if this cell right there is equal to order num, colon. If it is, then it's sort of a group level information, and I'm going to go ahead and extract the order number. If it's not, I want to add a 0. Notice that this is a text string and the 0 is a number. That's going to come important in a second. Great. So Control-Shift up, Control-D to go down. Okay, now that we've got all those, notice we've got text strings for all of the header rows and numbers for all the transactional data. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do Alt-H FDS, we're going to do FX, we're going to grab just the numbers, or not the text. So now that we've got that, we're going to do a formula fill. We're going to hit equals, up arrow, Control-Enter to populate that whole thing. Hit the up arrow key again, Control Spacebar, Control-C, Control-Alt-V, V for paste special values, and Enter. Great. Now that we've got that, we're going to delete some more header rows. Control Spacebar, Alt-H FDS K, find those rows, find those blank rows. We're going to do Alt-HDR to delete them. And now we're not going to we're going to start not the entire column. We're going to go down one, Control-Shift down arrow, Alt-HFDS OU, because now we're just going to grab the text strings. And since we've got the text strings, we're going to do Alt-HDR to delete those. Okay, almost done. Control Home to jump back up there, and I'm going to change this to order num, and we are all done. All right, so top 3 per month. Well, we already have. Damn, if I head over here to Power Pivot, we've already got the model already loaded because I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. So that's already done. We've got a star schema here with a fact sales table in the middle, and we've got dimension tables for customer, product, and calendar year, right? And we have no measures already set up. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to create a table that is connected to that model. So Alt-AX for existing connections, Alt-T to jump over to tables, and let's just load fact sales. Now we don't actually want fact sales. We just want to build a table that already has that connection. So now that we're here, we're going to do Shift F10, BD to jump over to the connection, or I should say to the query, and we're going to change the command type from table to DAX by hitting D, and we're going to hit Tab. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to define a measure, because currently we do not have the measure that we need. So define measure, and this is we're going to put this measure in bin measures, because that's where I keep all my measures for this model. Total sales is what we're going to name that measure, and it's going to be defined as a sum of fact sales sale. So we're going to sum up the sale column in fact sales. Great. So now that we've got that, we can go ahead and start writing our table query proper. So we're going to start with an evaluate because we want to return what's below as a table. Okay, so what are we going to evaluate? Well, first thing we want is a list of all the months. So that's pretty easy. That's values. I'm going to do dim cal month label. Okay. Oh, spelled entirely wrong. Month label. Great. Now, the problem here is that the dim calendar has a bunch of months that haven't happened yet, because that's just the way the dimension calendars are set up. So we want to actually filter this to only include months that have corresponding values in the fact table. So to do this, we could use a filter, but I'm going to go ahead and use a calculate table because it's faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and what are we going to filter by? Well, we're going to filter by the fact sales. So we're going to use some DAX cross-filtering to handle that problem. Okay, so now that we've got this, let's go ahead and just load it to see what it looks like. Click OK. Great, so now we've got all the months. That's good. Now all we need to do is add the top 3 products for each month. Shift F10, BD, Tab. I'm going to go ahead and resize this so we can see the whole thing. So now that we've got that, what we want to do is we want to use generate so that for each one of these months, we generate actually the top three selling products. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got our outer table for the generate. Now all we need is the inner table. And since we're doing top 3, we're going to start with a top n call. So enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. How many? Top 3. Okay, well, the top 3 rows of what? We're going to do a summarize. Great. What are we summarizing? Well, we are summarizing 1, 2, 3, 4, the fact sales table. We could actually do the dim products table too, but usually this is a more robust way to go about things. When in doubt, use the fact table. And what are we going to break down by? So we're going to break down by dim products, or group by, I should say. Dim product and product name. Great, okay. And in addition to that, I'm also going to add a column that shows what the total sales are. We don't technically need to, but I think it's going to make for a much nicer table. And that's just going to be defined as a total sales. by the total sales measure. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's close out the summarize. Okay, so now that, now that we've got that summarize, we need to know how to, we're going to get the top 3 rows, but top 3, based on what? Well, top 3 based on total sales. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter, close out the top end call, close out the generate, and I'm going to click OK. Great, so now we've got the data that we want. Unfortunately, we've got the first months up here, and we actually want it with the most recent month descending. And also, these total sales aren't sorted correctly either, so we're going to go back, Shift F10, BD, and Tab, and we're going to resize this. So we're going to add some order by clauses to get that ordering correct. So we're going to add an order by keyword. The first one we're going to order by is dim_cal month label. Okay. And we're going to order that descending. And we're also going to order by total sales, also descending. Okay, I'm going to click OK. There we go. Okay, so now it's shaped correctly. We're just going to clean it up visually a little bit. First things, Alt-WVG to get rid of that grid line, Alt-JTS to go to table style. We're actually just going to get rid of the style because we're going to do all this by hand. We're going to do Control-Shift-Space to select the entire table. Alt-HFS, change the font size down to 9. Verdana is a nice font, so I'm going to leave that alone. Come up here. The first thing I want to do is I want to gray out every instance that isn't the first of the month. So this one will stay normal. This will be grayed out. These two will be grayed out. This one will be normal. These two will be grayed out. That kind of thing. Control-Shift-Down arrow. Alt-HLN, add a conditional formatting rule. And Alt-O, select the formula. Equals A1 equals A2, which is to say, is this not the first row? Because if it's not the first row, we're going to use Alt-F, the following format. We're going to head over to font, Alt-C to jump to color, and we're just going to use one of these predefined ones. They will work just fine. Tab, OK. Tab, OK. Great, that's perfect. So we're going to come up here, Control-Shift down right to select the entire thing, and now we're going to add little lines above the start of each month. So Alt-HLN, again, add a conditional formatting rule, and Alt-O. Okay, in this one, instead of wanting to know whether it's not the first row, we want to know if it is the first row. So we're going to do equals $A1 does not equal $A2. And if that's the case, Alt-F, we're going to add a border. Head over here to borders. Go to color. I actually don't like any of the pre-built ones, so I'm going to do M to go to more colors. Right arrow, Alt-D to head to the color model, H for HSL. Okay, enter, Alt-L to head to luminance, and 238 is the number that I liked. So I'm going to click enter. There's no keyboard shortcut for this, so I'm going to click on the top border there. Click OK. Click OK. Great. Now we've got that. We are almost done. So I'm going to do Control-Shift-Down arrow, Alt-H, NA for accounting. Great. Hit Escape. So now that we've got that, Control-Shift-Down arrow, Control-1 to go to number formatting, Tab, End, Alt-T to jump to the formatting string, and we're going to round this to thousands and add our little K so that people know that the figures are in thousands. Great. Alt-HAR to align that right, F2, space. Great. And we are all done with that one. Okay, so let's go ahead and build that query. So we're going to do Alt-YY2 to grab it from an Excel file. Hit enter. Which Excel file do we want to grab it from? We want to grab it from this current week. So I'm going to click OK. It's going to go ahead and open up and ask, hey, do you want an individual sheet or do you want the whole thing? We want, click there, the entire thing. Click Edit. Okay, so now we've got the entire workbook loaded as a table. What we want to do is for each one of these tables, we want to promote the headers and add the sheet name as a custom column. Then when we're all done, we're going to merge all of them into a single table. And we're going to do that in the advanced editor. Click there. All right. So first thing we're going to do is define our cleaning function or our prep function. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to call this FNC prep, and it's going to have 2 arguments. We're going to have arg data and arg name. Okay, and they're going to be defined in the following manner. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to use a let in because there's multiple steps here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first step is promoted, and that's going to be defined with a table.promote headers. What are we going to promote the headers of? Well, arg data, or the table that we're going to pass into the function. Okay, once we've promoted those headers, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to take that promoted headers table, and we are going to add the column with the name that we want. So we're going to call this add col, and this is a table.add columns, or add column. Which table do we want to add columns to? Well, the promoted table. All right. What do we want to call this? We're just going to call it rep because it's the representative. Or let's call it rep ID because it's technically their ID. Okay, and how do we want to define it? Well, for each row, I want you to use the arg name string that we passed into the function. Okay, and that should be good. And when we're all done, the function should return the value from add columns, comma. Okay, so now that we've got our function defined, we're going to add some steps past source. 1, 2, 3, 4. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a custom column in the source table that has these cleaned up tables, these prepped tables, ready for joining. So we're going to call this prepped, and we're going to do a table.add column. Okay, which table do we want to add a column to? Well, we're going to add it to source. Great. Okay, what do we want to what do we want to call this new column? We're going to call it ready because it's ready to be merged or combined together. And how do we want to find it? Well, for each row, I want you to call the function prep that we just defined above, and we're going to pass in 2 arguments. So what are we going to pass in? Well, the first one for arg data, well, that's going to be that row's data value, or the table. And for the string, we're going to do name, which is the name of each sheet. I'm going to close the function, close the add column function, hit comma. Great, now we're all done with that. The last step is to merge all these guys together. So we're going to create merged, and this is going to be a table.combine function. All right, well, we need to combine a list of tables. The list is, we're going to get it by going to prepped, and we're going to grab the ready column. All right? Okay, so, and when we're all done, we're going to return the table from merged. All done? Great, there we go. We're going to head and close and load. Okay, I could clean this thing up for a while, but I'm just going to do a real simple cleanup. I'm going to click there, Control-Shift-3 to convert those to dates. Okay, so that's pretty darn useful. What's even more useful is next week when I get a new version of that same workbook with that new week's data, I can go up here to Edit, head over here to Source, click on the little gear icon, and click Browse, and I'm just going to point it at next week's data table. Click OK, click OK. Close and load, and my combining is all done for me with just a couple clicks. All right, well, that is it. Thanks very much for watching, and I do hope to talk to you soon.